Um, Jim Browne was buried. His funeral was today in St Mary's in Westport, County Mayo, here in Ireland. And as I've been blogging over the last number of days, he had a big impact on me over the last 2 years, really, since I met him first. And we did a retreat there, a men's retreat there the end of last September last year. And so I had been down there a few times to meet him. At Mass today, Father Brendan Walsh, he spoke about his dog, Jim Browne's dog, and about how Jim would be in the sitting room and he'd say to the dog, "Look, are there any communists out there? Go and see if there's any communists out there." And the dog would go to the window and look around, and Jim would say to his dog Una, "Are you sure there's no communists out there?" And we used to have a laugh. I used to have a laugh at the way he himself and his dog would carry on together. And when I'd be there, I spent a few days with him. When I was there, it'd just be myself and Jim alone in the house, and Jim, I would say, "Jim, look, I'm just going to go down and pray the rosary." And said, "Well, look, can you take Una with you?" And I'd go down to the beach. Well, it's more like a rocky beach, but it's a beach down at the end of the road, down by his house. And I remember bringing Una down for a walk. But he had a big impact on me, and again, other people knew him a lot more than I did, because he'd been taking pilgrimages to Medjugorje for years. But I just thought, if every layman did even 10% of what he did, the church would be transformed. He was just able to engage with the ordinary man and woman. He was able to bring the gospel down to the nuts and bolts of, do you know what? You give it over to Christ. You have a problem, give it to Christ. Turn it over to him. Do the possible and let God do the impossible. He was able to, he has a beautiful chapel there, and has a beautiful dining area with a kitchen, which we used during the retreat, with a nice aga stove. And I remember I went down, we were doing the men's retreat, and I went down the day before to set up the food, some of the food. I brought some of the food down then, and Mick Mick and his wife, they brought a curry down at the time. Mick Somerville and his wife, they brought a curry down, and they were there helping us. And it was a beautiful day, and the men mentioned that they found the retreat well. And I was just saying to Jim, look, we're trying to explore, look, how can we do something better in this area? And planning for this year, literally planning to do something this year. This is what we were doing, thinking, because it was the first type of retreat that I'd organised, and I was trying to see how it would work. We were planning to do the retreat in Knock and have a residential retreat, but because of the costs involved at the time, I said to Jim, look, can we use your chapel and your dining area? And he just opened everything up, and he was so obliging. And I was thinking, look, maybe something to explore this year. And I was kind of putting it on the back burner. Oh, we'll do this and we'll do that. And, I'll do an interview with you, Jim. And, no urgency in it, because I didn't think he was going to die. I didn't think he was going to be. He looked, he wasn't extremely elderly. He just looked, fit enough. And you don't know what's around the corner. But, he's no longer around with us. But, he was inspirational because he was able to connect with the ordinary person, to make them a cup of tea, to listen. Sometimes listening to somebody, even you won't have all the answers, but this is what I've discovered. Just listen. Just listen. Have empathy. Have empathy. Listen. What can I do? And what you can do is you can bring God into conversations. You can bring prayer into conversations. And I've seen people's lives transformed by this. And as I said, It's the simple things that transform people's lives. If we did the possible, and it's possible for you to have a prayer space in your house. It's possible for you to buy a kettle and offer tea and coffee to somebody that comes. It's possible for you to pray with people, to pray a rosary with people. To pray. People ask me for prayers. I just sit there and I pray with them. And I said, if something is going to happen, it will be our Lord Jesus Christ who does this. And I just say to them, leave your problems with our Lord. Give them to our Lord. We do the possible and God does the impossible. And those were the last words that he spoke to me in his chapel just a couple of weeks ago. I remember there nodding. He was saying, and he looked at me and he said, "What do you think, Robert?" or something like that. I said, "Of course, Jim. Like it's obvious." And anyway, today after the funeral, myself and Anto Crossi were there at the door leaving the chapel. Just there, and a lady passed us and she said to us, "Now you're the new Jims." To me, to Anto and myself. He should serve as an inspiration to the rest of Ireland. Look, you can. There is hope. Give your life to Christ. And when I say give your life to Christ, just give your time to Christ. Let him use you for what he wants to do. And I just hope I inspire. I hope I inspire people to go to Christ, because he is so real. For me, he is so real. If there's one thing I could ask Irish laity to do this year, go to Medjugorje in Bosnia. Go in Herzegovina. Go to Medjugorje. Jim was leading people to Medjugorje for years. And I'm thinking of trying to promote a pilgrimage to Medjugorje in October. So if anybody's out there is interested in going to Medjugorje in October, just message me and we will try and organise something. Because the miracles that have come out of Medjugorje for me, you just can't fake it. You just can't fake what is happening in Medjugorje. It is impossible to because what I've seen there is just lives transformed, completely and utterly transformed. The sanctifying graces that are there are just there, are evident. You have priests there that are validly ordained priests, that are ministers of the church, that have apostolic succession. So you have priests in Medjugorje, they hear confession, people get transformed. Why it happens, why Medjugorje is such an important place, well, we'll know. Our Lady will show us in the future. But for me, it is just life transforming. And I just thought it was interesting when I look back. Last year, I was supposed to go to Medjugorje in October. I had my tickets booked to go in October. And then Our Lady said to me during September, "You're not to go to Medjugorje in October. You're not to go in October. You're to go to France." And so I rebooked my tickets and I went in December. And I happened to be in Medjugorje the day that Jim Browne arrived to Medjugorje for the very last time. All I can, and I was actually there for the Feast of the Immaculate Conception in December, which was very, very, very beautiful. And all I did in Medjugorje, I just went to adoration. And lots of people say the same thing. You go to this rosary in the evening, mass in the evening, or adoration or veneration of the cross in the evening, and you can pass 3 hours in prayer as if they passed in 15 minutes. That happens. Whatever time functions differently in Medjugorje. Maybe it's because we're in a different environment, in a different country, and we're just in a different frame of mind. But I would just spend hours in adoration in the Oasis of Peace in Medjugorje. I don't know. But there's something in that place of great peace. It is a peace that I have never experienced in any other place in my whole life. And it's just a location which has everything to offer you. It has the accommodation, it has the sacraments, the chapel, the other chapels, the communities around it, the mountains, Cross Mountain and Apparition Hill, the Blue Cross. I'm just relating. It's pragmatically, it's a place that lends itself to prayer, and I just ask, if you want your life transformed, do the possible. Go to Medjugorje, go to confession, go to the rosary, to the mass, to the adoration, and you have adoration in another chapel during the day, and you have adoration in the Oasis of Peace. Oasis of Peace for me is an oasis of peace in Medjugorje. It simply is. There's no doubt about it. It is the most beautiful chapel that I've seen. Go there. Spend time in prayer. You will see your life transformed. You do the possible. You do the possible. Let God do the impossible. That's all we're asked to do. As I said, if every lay person in Ireland even did 10%, 20% of what Jim was doing, just to give God to people, to give his word to people, so people know, it's a beautiful experience. And that's for me the memories of him anyway. And again, a lot of people knew him a lot more with him for years and years and years. I just knew him the last couple of years, and I suppose it was a privilege to know him. It was a privilege to go to his chapel, and I just hope that we don't forget what he did, and that we continue on his legacy, especially bringing people to Medjugorje. I really, really do encourage it. And again, I didn't go looking for Medjugorje. I didn't go. As I said to my friends will know this, I said it to them over the years, I thought Medjugorje was a fraud, and I thought it was this, and I was agnostic, and I said, yeah, right, yeah, just please, not into Medjugorje, not into it at all. And look, God of surprises. The God of surprises. And I've no doubt, because I've seen the miracles firsthand, no doubt whatsoever that God is working in that place. And it's a beautiful community. Medjugorje is a beautiful community of prayer that you should experience. Now, it's up to you to decide to go. But if you're living through anxiety, fear, depression, addictions and all this, and you want to change your life, then you have to do the possible of getting up and going. Go on a pilgrimage and watch God do the impossible. Ask him to heal you. Hand over your addictions to him. Speak to others. Pray with others. Reach out to me. Maybe if I can't help you, I know people who can. And we do the simple things. Christ did the simple things. Christ walked with people. He healed them. He prayed with them. He ate with them. He talked to them. He spoke to them about his gospel, to how we're supposed to love, how we're supposed to have charity, how we're supposed to help those that are suffering. The Christ was there for the ordinary man and woman. His disciples were ordinary men and women. The fishermen. And still today we need to. The ordinary man and woman needs God, and we have to help them to find God. So I just ask people to continue on his legacy. If you knew him, that just don't sit back. You be Christ's disciple now. You go out, give Christ. All Christ wants is to do what we can do, the possible. Okay? Anyway, God bless you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Open the Open the